Hi, Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone here.
When will you understand that I am a person and not a thing?
Look it up.
Do something else. Do my eyebrows.
Better to say, am I being true to myself? And is this what I want to say? And have I expressed myself the way I want to express myself? I mean, that's what it's all about.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone. Hey, everybody, it's Stefan.
Hey, guys, it's Tony, and people keep telling me that love makes the world go round. What do you think?
And it's true. It's so true. Everyone, this week we are joined by two lovely individuals who run their very own podcast called Even the Rich. Welcome Aricia and Brooke to the show.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome. We are so excited to have you guys. You guys have several podcasts, don't you?
We do.
Yeah.
We have, well, technically we have 3, but only 2 are currently going because In God We Lust is done for now.
We will get to that. But
Yes.
in the meantime, how are you guys doing? Tell us where you're calling from and how you're doing today.
So good. I'm calling from Maryland. So I'm with my parents right now, getting ready to move back to LA. So my life is absolute chaos. And I'm excited to have this excuse to like get away from packing and planning. So
nice. Thank you.
I'm in LA, just anxiously awaiting Aricia's return. She's been gone forever. Yeah, I'm having a good day. This is a really easy day for us. We only had to record one show, and now we're just like chilling, basically.
Oh, and look at you with your branding behind you. I can see that you have have posters.
Yeah,
Tony,
don't forget.
we are slacking, Tony. We do not have posters in our backgrounds.
I know. We have a T-shirt.
These are super cheap. I just got them online. Very affordable.
Yeah.
So you can.
She can send you.
They're like lithographs. What are they? I'm trying to.
They're canvas.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
All right, we will get that.
Yeah, we gotta step it up. It's like we're silently podcast shamed by not having artwork behind us.
I mean, look at my background; it's literally boxes. So,
did your little post-it notes say like garage?
Yeah,
kitchen.
It's very avant-garde. My style choices here.
I love it.
Speaking of avant-garde, I just want to humbly brag for just a second. I got to hang out with actress Chloe Sevigny the other day.
Wow.
Yes,
Excuse me.
I know. I am not worthy to be here right now, but she teamed up with Richardson, New York. Richardson is like this boutique shop in north of Houston. So like they do like house brand streetwear and accessories and vintage books. And I think I saw Lourdes, Madonna's daughter, did like modeling for them. I think they just posted. But Chloe Sevigny did a capsule collection for Richardson, New York at like sweatshirts and t-shirts and like a little cute dress or whatnot. And so they threw a little like party for the capsule collection. And they were like, come on down to the store. And I was like, I'll go down to the store to meet Chloe Sevigny. Absolutely. So I bought a T-shirt, which I'm wearing, and and she signed the T-shirt, and we took some posy pictures.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, it makes me look so cool. I was like, people are like, you're just hanging out with a celebrity. I'm like, yes.
Just another day in the life.
Yeah,
that's how I roll. What can I say?
I guess it's safe to say New York is back if Chloe Sevigny is out on the streets, you know?
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Anyway, enough about Chloe. We're here to talk about you ladies and Madonna. So Tony, why don't you give a little introduction to the ladies?
Absolutely. Here's a proper introduction. Ooh. Even the Rich, where co-host Brooke Siffrinn and Aricia Skidmore-Williams pull back the curtain and chat about someone else's craziness for a change. They tell stories about some of the greatest family dynasties in history, from the Murdochs, the Kardashians, the Kennedys, the Royals, to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And recently, they did a very deep dive into a 5-episode Madonna season, and that's what caught our attention. So let's talk about it, girls.
Yeah.
So let's pull back just a little bit before we get to Madonna. How did the two of you get involved in podcasting and begin your many podcasts?
So we actually had an indie podcast for one season of The Bachelor that we had, and we've been doing stuff or wanting to do stuff together for a very long time. And I came across a casting announcement for this job. We had no idea what it was. We truly were like, this will just be a fun little thing for us to get our toes wet in. We auditioned for it. I think, was it 3 times?
I think 3 times, yeah.
3 times. And then the beginning of 2020, they were like, we want you guys. And we're like, we're there. And that's how we ended up
It
here.
usually takes 3 times to like us. So finally they were like, okay, I guess we'll let you have the job. You guys have grown on us.
So tell me what that process is like. So do you guys audition together, separately, both? And what kind of background were they looking for? Or were they just casting a net?
Yeah, so the casting, I think, said looking for comedic duos. And that is us in a nutshell. So we were like, okay. And it was like, it's going to be about rich people and all these things. And Aricia sent me a screenshot and she's like, this is our shot. Like, we got to do this. Yeah. And so many times we would have these auditions and be like, let's do it. And then we would just never do it. But something about this one, we were like, okay, we're going to do it. So we sent in, I want to say I don't know if we sent in an audition off the bat. They were looking for like a short clip.
Wanted us, it was like we had to talk about ourselves, like how we were friends, why this fit us, because it was talking about basically celebrity culture. And
you're like, well, we're celebrities, so that's why this fits.
Yeah. And they loved that we met doing valet for celebrities, so that was kind of like, I think. And then we also happened to really be friends, as opposed to, because they had in the audition notice they had said they're either looking for a pair or one, and it seemed like they would match them up with somebody else. So we didn't have to fake that chemistry. Well, for the most part,
not at all.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's go back to when you guys were doing valet. I really want to hear about that.
So it was an all-girl valet company, and we would just do private parties, weddings, all of these things for rich people, some of which were celebrities. And I was working there a couple years before Aricia moved here, and I was looking for more people, and she submitted, and I hired her, and we just hit it off basically at our first event together. But it's really weird to see them like, you know, in their natural habitats, just like getting drunk.
So can I ask you, did you go through glove compartments and see like if they had stashes of stuff or like?
I didn't.
That never even occurred to me to do.
Oh God! Well, I would get in their cars. I would instantaneously just start rooting through things. Be like, what do they have? Are they mints? Are they ecstasy? What is that?
Well, it's funny because a lot of them have drivers. Like most of them don't even drive their own cars. Like the other people at the party would drive their own cars, but like the celebrities for the most part got dropped off or whatever. So I guess I didn't think about it either, but
you definitely look around though. You're like,
I'm wondering if you guys have seen the 1986 cable late night stalwart Valet Girls. You heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Have not seen it though.
Have not seen it.
I mean, you know, just for background. Yeah.
Is that a movie or a TV show?
No, it's a movie from the 80s that was on cable every single day about a bunch of girls. Bunch of girls with a bad attitude in LA that work as valets and Beverly
It's definitely
Hills.
Autobiographical.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
That's us.
That sounds like a movie Heather Locklear would have been in.
Well, did they wear like sexy outfits and stuff? Was that the whole thing?
They wore like sexy variations of a tux, you know?
Oh, okay. We didn't do any of that. Like,
no.
And a lot of rebellious hair, you know, so.
I often had stains
Keeping
on my
with the
shirt,
times.
so I went like that.
Who were the biggest, like, who are the biggest celebrities you parked cars for?
Well, I think we did a party at Chelsea Handler's, and I want to say that's where the biggest concentration of celebrities was. There was like, of course, now I can't think of anybody.
Anna Faris was there.
Jessica Alba
yelling at
and
Cash.
her husband. They were in a fight, which was really fun to see. Sacha Baron Cohen, Drew Barrymore was there.
Were they good tippers, or did they just be like, sorry, left my cash at home?
That's the thing. They didn't drive. So we didn't park their car. So it's hard to say. But we used to do events for Charlize Theron a lot. And she would tip really well. Like she would tip like $100 a person around like Christmas, or one time Chelsea Handler was at Charlize Theron's and came out with just like a ball of cash and gave it to us. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. So I don't know if it was from her or Charlize, but as a pair, they tip great. So
that sounds amazing. So how much did you guys know about Madonna before you guys started doing the mini series on her career? And you know, just going back a little bit too, how is it decided who to choose for the season, and Madonna being one of those topics?
Well, so at the end of the day, it's a Wondery show. So Wondery is the one that will say who we are covering. We definitely pitch names and are still pitching. I'm forever rooting for Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Me too.
Oh my God, please, that would be amazing.
I know.
But I knew next to nothing about Madonna, even less than after finishing it, I was like, wow, I knew even less than I thought I knew.
Yeah.
Covering
same.
her. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a lot of the people we cover, we go all the way back to the beginning and like their childhood. And so like there's a ton you just don't know about that. Mm-hmm. And we're lucky to have a really good team behind us that kind of sorts through all this info. And especially with Madonna, it was really hard because there's a lot of conflicting stories. Like there's her brother's book that has like conflicting stories to Madonna's own stories. So it was really a hard series to write because there were so many, from what we heard, there's so many conflicting stories.
Yeah, even Madonna conflicts herself. Like she'll be like, I was 16 when this happened. Actually, I was 14. And just depending on whatever mood she's in when she does the interview.
Yeah.
So the writers definitely had their work cut out for them for that arc.
Yeah.
So, because I was curious about this when I was listening to your show about Madonna, who is you have people writing that for you, and are you giving input into that as well? I know that you used several Madonna biographies that you credited on the show, and that was what you were sort of basing the research off of. Is that a collaborative effort for you that you work with the team from Wondery?
Yeah. So every season has a different writer. Sometimes we double up. But then our producers also do a lot of writing. And then when they're done, they send it to us and we usually put in like, you know, the moments where like the secondary host chimes in with like a joke or like a clip or whatever. We write those. Like every once in a while there's one and we're like, oh, that's funny. We'll keep it. But for the most part, we're way funnier than anyone. No, I'm just kidding. But for the most part, we'll like write in our own stuff or we'll do it off the cuff because like we like to just have jokes off the cuff. Like that's one of the things her and I really like. And we'll like scratch stuff that we're like, I don't think that's going to go over well. Or we don't really want to say that. That doesn't sound like us. So it is very collaborative. But
so you're putting it, you want to make it sound as if it's true to your voice, not just necessarily like, here's what you're going to read and you read it like a teleprompter type of thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, the whole point is they always pushing us to sound conversational, which is forever going to be our challenge of like, we are going off a script. So we want to make that sound like it's natural and not completely scripted, which ends up biting us in the ass sometimes when people are like, how could you say that? It's like, okay, calm down.
We didn't say it.
I know. But yeah, we do. I mean, there are times when like, you know, we'll get the script and be like, oh, this doesn't really make sense. There have been a couple of times where we end up kind of reworking a paragraph or two because we don't think it's really telling the story in the best way, or it doesn't really make sense why it's where it is.
Sure.
But the
okay, well, so then
exists.
I because I was going to bring this up, but it was not your fault then that that you read one of Madonna's early movies was Desperately Seeking Susan, and I forget which one it was. Somebody said Suddenly Seeking Susan, and when I heard that, I was like, what? And it reminded me, I'm like, oh, well, Brooke Shields had that show
Suddenly
called
Susan.
Suddenly Susan. Well, so I was like, that must have been whoever wrote that must have been thinking Suddenly Susan.
Yeah. Well, the worst part is it was said twice because you weren't alone. Somebody, I think they commented on one of my Instagram posts
Madonna
about
fans
it.
will call that shit out all the time. We get it constantly.
Yeah. So we retracted. So people that download it since we retracted it won't get the messed up version. But it's weird because in that paragraph or that like page, the first mention was correct, and then for some reason it was incorrect the second mention.
Yes. No, I know. I was just like, but I was like, I wonder who wrote that then, because it was, I mean.
Well, it's funny because like we're reading it most of the time. I think that was Aricia was leading that one. And like you just get into a groove where you like sometimes aren't even thinking about what you're saying. And I was the secondary host on that one. And when you're the secondary host, you literally check out until it's time to talk. So you're like, I would have maybe heard it and said something, but I was probably like on Instagram and like, oh, my line's coming up. I got to chime in here. And it's terrible because we shouldn't do that. But it's just how it is.
We'll be like in the bathroom, maybe
Right,
dinner.
right.
Like, yeah, you'll go to the bathroom. No one even knows you're gone. Yeah.
Well, so because when I heard that line, I was curious, like walking into the episode about Madonna and Aricia, I think you said you didn't know too much about Madonna. Like, have either of you seen her in concert? Have you seen her movies? Like, how familiar with Madonna were you before you were given this?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have seen her in some movies. I've never been to a concert. I've always loved her music, though. But I wouldn't say I was like a big time Madonna fan. Like, I just knew her as an icon, and that's, all I knew. And like, of course, I've seen A League of Their Own, which I don't know if that's a really stupid one to see or not, but I liked it.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's one of her top 5, we'd say.
Yeah. And I think, I don't think she's really funny in a lot of these. And I don't think she gets credit for that. So, like her and Rosie O'Donnell together were super funny, and like they've been friends for a long time. And I think she just gets taken really seriously. So not that this series helped me look at that any differently, because I feel like we talked about a lot of serious stuff with her, but yeah, I just didn't really know like where she came from. I just knew her as the star she is now, I think.
Right. Yeah. No, and as you guys mentioned earlier, there are conflicting reports, different unauthorized biographies, rumor, speculation. And, that's part of the reason we do the podcast. We've been able to talk to people who have worked with her from the beginning of her career up until now. And, we find answers to these questions, things that are in books suddenly were never true, so this is this is great. We're like, digging for treasure. So did you guys discover something about Madonna that kind of blew your mind, while putting the show together, and be like, wow, I actually did not know that. And that's kind of mind blowing.
I mean, this isn't like hugely mind blowing, but to the point where like we called it out in the script. It was that when she finally won a Grammy for her song for singing versus music videos or something. Is that what it was, Brooke? Like,
Ray of Light.
And
yes,
I was like, she's won Grammys, or like not actually for that shocked me. I was like, oh my God, this woman is so talented.
I agree.
But
well, as a fan, we were shocked that it had taken that long as well.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
Like, it was weird that it took that long into her career for her to be recognized for songwriting, and like the fact that Like a Prayer didn't get any Grammy nominations at all was a little like. I mean, I don't know if it was like a misogynist type of thing where like the Grammys were just like, oh, she didn't do that. That wasn't her. But I think, Ray of Light. Well, I also think with Madonna, her earlier stuff, she was so covered in controversy with so much of the like a Prayer. No one paid attention to the songwriting because all they saw were her dancing in front of burning crosses, kissing a black man in a church. Like it was so clouded over by all of that, same thing, like her erotica album, nobody listened to what she was saying.
Right. Yeah.
They just saw her, having sex, walking naked down a highway in Miami. Like it was, and I think until Ray of Light came around, Madonna, she was fully clothed. She wasn't doing anything scandalous. It was safe. And I think the Grammys like it when artists are a little safer. So I think that's why. But it was a little like, what? Why is it taking this long?
Yeah. I think like for me too, like I didn't know, because I was growing up as she was kind of blowing up. So I was younger. I didn't really know that there was so much controversy until we did this series. And we went back and we like watched the Like a Prayer video, and we were like, this is crazy. Like we always, and I'll never forget it now, but like the moment where that woman throws her into the air, we laughed so hard. We were like, what? I don't remember this at all from my childhood. But it's like that video was just so wild. So it makes sense that, you know, people were just so focused on the video and didn't care about the song, which is a great song.
Oh, it's so good. It's also really hard. I feel like whenever I see things from like ages ago, like the 80s, best decade, you forget, like, I think it's easy to not like see it through the eyes of being in that time, like in that space of the world. Cause like watching that stuff now is just like, that's ridiculous. And how funny is this? And whatever, big deal. Cause, you know, we see literally everything on TV nowadays, in music videos nowadays. I mean, Lil Nas X is taking it to a next level, which in like covering Madonna, it kind of helped me see like she's one of the reasons that we do have what we have today. Like you're able to push the envelope, and back then that was just so provocative. Now, of course, it seems relatively tame.
It's like a nursery rhyme, you know? You're just like,
it really is. Yeah, it really is.
But also things like, for example, the way that the Pop Girl concert is staged since Madonna's Blonde Ambition show. It'll, you know, it was never like that before, and now no pop diva will go on stage without having a
story.
You know,
right?
Yeah. They're definitely telling stories now.
with the way that the show is written, because as I was listening to the 4-part series that you sort of devote specifically to her life, what constituted like the moments that needed to be included? Do you know like how the writing process was like? Because I felt like there were certain things that you highlighted that were really important in Madonna's career, but then there was other things where I thought, oh, wow, I'm surprised they skipped over that. Like that was such a, you know, like I don't think that you mentioned anything about the Justify My Love controversy. And I was like, that was such a big moment for Madonna, because that was like the first time that I am aware of that MTV was like, we're not playing her video. And we're, you know, like it is too risque. And then the fallout of that, and how I was just curious is like, what's the decision-making process like for the show, for the series, where like, we're going to talk about this, we're not going to talk about that.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Let me call my producer. Because we really don't know. Like we're lucky to have a team that like researches this and knows how to tell these stories so well. And there's a method to their madness that I think Aricia and I don't fully understand, because we're like the show monkeys, you know, like we're like the face. So I don't know, to tell you the truth. I mean, maybe you do, Aricia.
I mean, all I know is that they, with every arc we do, they have to decide what story are they going to tell. Like we just finished Bennifer, and one of the things is,
yes,
I know.
Oh my God, thank goodness.
The first episode is up, and you guys have to listen to it. I'm so ready for the next one.
But it's being told from Ben's perspective, and so somebody somewhere, they've had the conversation of, are we telling this from Ben or J-Lo's, and what angle are we going with? And we're not a part of those conversations, and but it's definitely, there have been times things we've covered where it's like, are we going to mention this, or we only really spent, like, one of the things one of my personal feedbacks for Liz Taylor was we only spent like a paragraph talking about all the work she did for HIV/AIDS, and it's like, that seems, and so it's just, obviously these people's lives were condensing into essentially 4 hours, which how can you possibly do the best service to anyone in that way?
Right.
But we don't know how they decide exactly what makes it, what doesn't. Which is, it's hard. It's because it's like these people are so complex, and that's part of what our show is showing these people that we normally are seeing in the headlines how human they are, and the things that they go through, and why that's relatable. And it's hard that we can't include everything. It's definitely a challenge.
But in your defense, specifically the Liz Taylor arc, it was amazing. And the only reason that you didn't have time to talk about the other things is because Richard Burton takes up a lot of room.
He
does.
really does.
He
My
does.
God, that man.
in her life and the series.
Exactly.
Honestly,
No,
like,
and I also listened to everything you guys did about Meghan and Harry. I love it so much. So I'm gonna hit up the Kennedys next and the House of Versace. Which ones have you guys really enjoyed doing when you, like, for example, when you stop recording, you're like, wow, Brooke, wow, Aricia, that was so good.
All of them, obviously.
All of them?
Hello.
We love it all. Versace, actually, interesting you just said that one. That was, I think that's definitely still in one of my top favorites.
Yeah, same
Versace
here.
is really fun.
I actually really think that Jay-Z and Beyonce is kind of when Aricia and I found our voice as hosts and kind of found our stride. Because at the beginning we were so new and we were like, we just want to do a good job for Wondery. Like, we want to keep doing this. And like, they had an idea of how two best friends talk, and it's definitely not really us.
It was how two best friends talk in like a TV show that's clearly scripted versus
on Gilmore Girls. It's like if Gilmore Girls did a podcast.
Right. And so like, we kind of eventually were like, okay, it's okay that we write in our own stuff. It's okay that we have our own voice. And they were really receptive to it. So I feel like Jay-Z and Beyonce, we did fourth. And that's kind of when we, like, I listened back to it because we reran it. And whenever we do a rerun, we're like, do we want to take anything out? Or do we want to like update anything? And so I was listening to it and I was like, wow, we sound good. Like, we sound really conversational. It's like, enough about Jay-Z and Beyonce. How do we sound? No, I'm kidding. But it was like, that one really sticks out to me as like our coming out, stride. You know, like, but I also love Versace, and I actually really love Liz Taylor, and I didn't think that I was going to like that one as much, but I just loved the old Hollywood vibe. It really was interesting to me. I know it's not Aricia's favorite.
I loved it. When I saw that was the next one, I was like, oh my God, I get to like sit with Liz Taylor for 4 or 5 episodes. It's in 2021. Amazing.
Right.
Can we dovetail for just 1 second on Bennifer? Because since you brought that up, is it just me, or is it ridiculous that is happening again?
Oh boy. How much time do we have?
Seriously.
Like, I don't understand maybe it's post-COVID or still COVID exists. Like, that's where we are in this world where like weird things are happening. And that just makes sense now that Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are back together, you know?
Okay, Stefan, I'm going to let you finish. But first I want to say, how dare you talk this way about one of the greatest love stories of our time?
Oh my God. I just, realistically, did she even have time to mourn the engagement with A-Rod, and suddenly they're back together as if no time had passed? It's very bizarre to me.
I feel like she had been mourning that loss of A-Rod before we all even knew about it. Like, she had checked out prior.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also think that, like, as you said, this world is absolute chaos. And I think a lot of people are getting back with their exes because it's like a comfort and it's like a familiarity
Safe.
that's like not the world burning down. You know what I mean? Like, that could have something to do with it. I don't know. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
More than Aricia is rooting for them, as you can see her shaking her head.
Here's the thing. I appreciate everything they're bringing for us in terms of the nostalgia, the fun of it. I am not a Ben Affleck fan. I feel like when they were together, and I know that this is informed by all of the media at the time, so it's hard for me to like reconcile what I know now and, how you've grown from that kind of stuff. But like, I don't like him. I think J-Lo deserves like a prince, and I don't think Ben Affleck's a prince. And it's like, he needs to prove that to me.
Yeah. He's a baby man. He still feels like he hasn't grown up yet, to me.
Yeah,
least,
like it feels like he's struck gold with her and doesn't.
Well, that's what I think. I feel like he's definitely dating up. I feel like she's dating down. Especially like, I mean, again, I know we weren't part of the relationship, but like, A-Rod was kind of hot. Like, now that he's like trimmed down, he's gotten in shape again, and I was like, really? She's dumping him? I don't.
Well, so my thing with them is like, I followed them both on Instagram, and I loved the family, like all their pictures. And I don't think I want kids. I'm not super into that, but I was like, for them, I was like, I loved it for them. And so when that all ended, it was like, he might be stepping out. He might be thinking about stepping out. Okay, fine. Goodbye. I'm done with you. And it's like, Ben Affleck has stepped out on just about every woman he's been with.
Right.
So it's like, J-Lo, come on.
I know. It's very
Upgrade.
bizarre.
Don't downgrade.
I also
Strange.
think she can do way better than A-Rod, though.
Oh,
I'm
she
not
can.
an A-Rod
100%.
I mean, we all saw Hustlers. J-Lo's looking fine. She can definitely do better than anything, you know?
Aricia and I always joke, we're like, if J-Lo and Paul Rudd got together, we would truly never know when the photos were from. Because like we were joking, like, you can tell like if it's an old Bennifer or a new Bennifer based on Ben, not Jen.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like if her and Paul Rudd got together, we would truly never know. It'd be like a time capsule. Yeah.
I'm still mystified by the fact that Ben Affleck speaks fluent Spanish. Just like that makes my mind hurt, you know?
Wait,
Does he?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look it up. It's painful when you see him doing interviews in Spanish, and when you watch them, you instantly start to think of how he was like annoying Ana de Armas and Jennifer Lopez with his like Espanol, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
He speaks it that way. So yeah.
Oh, God.
Right.
Do
okay,
yourself a
that makes
favor.
sense. I will.
Okay.
I
Sorry,
thought-
we
I was
digress.
like-
We digress.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to ask you guys, without giving too much away, but you know, feel free to give something away. What are some names or just family names being thrown around at Even the Rich for upcoming episodes? Who's on your wish list? What do you guys want to do with the format?
We have such a long wish list.
I know. It gets longer every day. I mean, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen are like my holy grail. Brooks pitched out the Spelling Family, which I think
so
is
many
brilliant.
times.
Yes.
Um,
Tori, Randy, Candy, Aaron.
They're
On it.
a mess,
Yeah.
and I want to talk about it so bad.
I also want to do Oprah because I
yeah.
find her
Well-
story fascinating.
They told us that there's not enough like
Stuff
literature
out
on
there on her.
Oprah, so we can't really do
She
it.
probably keeps things
Exactly.
very under
Yes.
lock and key.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my goal is my long game is I'll just become friends with her.
Mhm.
I was going to say,
the
here's
expose.
what you need to do. Valet parties for her.
They don't
we
do
go.
that anymore.
Tell
Yeah, we
them
don't
that
do that.
you need to use the bathroom. Find a diary or like
mean-
just a memory stick, you know, into
Yeah.
a computer, download some files.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, like Ocean's 8 the shit out of Oprah.
Yeah.
you
And I'm
know?
really good at typing fast on the computer and saying I'm in. So
Yeah.
totally, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Just hitting numbers. Yeah, for sure. We can tell you that Mariah Carey is next after Bennifer.
Oh,
Amazing.
nice.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
And then we're doing the Gucci family. And I think
Gucci.
Oh my
Is that
God,
it?
just in time for the movie.
I know.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
I mean, Wondery really seems to have their finger on the pulse as far as timing goes.
Now, will you be talking in as wonderful an Italian accent as Lady Gaga is in the trailer?
No, they put the squash on that after the Versace arc. They were like, that's too much Italian accent. I was like, I agree. Even though it was flawless,
Yeah.
I agree that it was too much.
well, the
So-
issue is they're like, this isn't an Italian show, and people are getting concerned. They're like, we didn't realize that you had two
Yeah,
Italian
it's
hosts. So
too Italian right now.
It's like, yeah, I'm concerned. I'm listening to this podcast and suddenly everyone's speaking in Italian.
and it's
Yeah.
just so good and authentic, and I feel like I'm in Italy. That was a lot of feedback we got.
I want to
Yeah.
ask you
Overwhelming.
about your other podcast, that the one that I discovered you guys through
Yeah.
is In God We Lust. So yeah, I had this unhealthy fascination with the icky Falwell Juniors last
Yeah.
year. And
Yes.
I got sucked right in. And then suddenly I find out that there is a podcast about it. And thanks again for, taking up all of my free time. But
Yeah.
it was
Happy
really,
to
really
do that.
good. But it was very... I jumped into Even the Rich right after, but it is a very different feel. It's serious. It has a lot of legalese, which you guys
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You go to great lengths to explain everything.
Yeah.
But how is putting that together different from Even the Rich? And also, are you guys interested in doing other investigative crime podcasts in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yes. I've been pitching. Have you guys seen The Hustler and the Housewife, or The Housewife and the Hustler? It's about Erica Jane.
Yes.
No.
Oh my God. It's
You have
about
to see
Erica
it. It's
Jane,
on- yeah.
Real Housewife, and her husband, Tom Girardi, who's a lawyer who basically scammed his clients out of millions and millions of dollars. And now there's a big lawsuit and people don't know if Erica was involved, all this stuff. But there's a Hulu
No.
docuseries about it. You should watch it. It's so juicy. And I would love to do another ETR mini about that because I just think it's so interesting.
Mhm.
And I sent it to our our boss, and I was like, we should do this. We got to do this. And he's like, oh, I'll look into it, which I haven't heard anything. So
especially since it's a developing story every week.
It
there's a
is.
new, so you guys can follow up on that.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it's sort of like the college thing with what's her face from Desperate Housewives and Fuller
Felicity
House.
Huffman and
Yes.
Lori Laughlin.
That's another good one too.
Yeah, actually. But to answer your question, with In God We Lust, it's very tedious. It's way more tedious than Even the Rich. Like we would record episodes. We would do a lot of pickups. So we would record the episode, and then because of, some legal things or whatever, they would run it by legal first. And they would say, we got to make these changes. We got to do pickups. And it was just like very extensive pickups to make sure that we are handling the legal stuff and not getting ourselves sued or, Wondery or any of those things. So it's a lot.
Allegedly, they said,
allegedly.
We need you to put allegedly in here.
Yeah. Or like throw it into sentences just willy-nilly, whether it makes sense or not. Just make sure you say allegedly all the time. But yeah, it's a lot of work to do a show like that. It was
Even the Rich, like we record basically an episode over the span of a week, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 or 4 with pickups. With In God We Lust, there were some episodes we would have, I feel like 5, like there was one episode we basically had to retrack the whole thing. So it's definitely way more involved. And it's weird because it's less speaking on our parts. There were a lot more clips within God We Lust. So in the beginning, we're like, oh, this will be a breeze. And we were wrong.
And because the subject matter is so heavy, like for example, the final episode was that was a lot. I will say that. I mean, it was very interesting to listen to, but it was a lot, and I was very angry when I finished listening to that. Liberty, go to hell. So how do you guys basically? How do you take a Silkwood shower after doing a series about the icky fall wells? Like how do you how do you just shake it off?
For me, and I second hosted the whole thing, so it's a lot. I mean, I'm listening to it, but it's also, I think, it's a little bit easier to not have to actually really be in it the way that Brooke had to be. But by the end, I'm just exhausted. And so it's just, you have your escapes and I seek them out. Fortunately, it's not cocaine. It's, just television and
the
Candy
Reese
Crush.
cups.
And Reese cups. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really good at just separating myself from it. I don't really know how, but I think because I've been hosting since college, so I'm good at knowing that I'm a host and kind of disconnecting from it after. But listening back to In God We Lust, that final, it's infuriating. Truly, just so angry. Even listening to it back, and I'm just like, we need to bring these people to justice. This is probably that episode is the most angry I've been doing one of these. Yeah. So I don't know.
That one was really, and that one wasn't even part of the original.
No, it was a bonus
plan that was kind of added. I guess just in July, it was we're gonna, and so it was definitely, and it was oh great, we're gonna do another episode, and then we read about what it is, and it's great. This is, and it is. I mean, it makes you so angry. It's very upsetting, and it's just really hard because it's what else can we do? This stuff, unfortunately, is not unique to Liberty. That stuff happening on campuses is unfortunately too common, and it's just it sucks.
I'm glad that you guys tackled the subject. I mean, even in the beginning, there's a little bit of you guys give it a good injection of a sense of humor, which is important, but after a point, you can't laugh anymore,
No. And it's we have our Even the Rich song, and In God We Lust. So what they call it is an ETR mini, which is an Even the Rich mini series. So it's a spinoff. It's in the same tone. And you're right. At the beginning, it was oh my gosh, look at this crazy affair. And we can make jokes. But toward the end, we had to be should we change the music? Because it's we're talking about this serious stuff, and then it's na 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 na. And it's okay, that's not really the right tone, and it's definitely a different. The last episode especially was very a different tone that we had to be very cognizant of because it's serious.
Well, so with doing serious podcasting or just Even the Rich podcasting itself, how do you sort of escape and like, what do you turn on? Are there, for fun, for inspiration, do you listen to other podcasts? Are there movies or TV, or do you just shut all media off and you're like, I'm going to go outside and just stare at the ocean?
Okay, well, first of all, if I could walk outside and stare in the ocean, it'd be a very different life I'm living. I wish.
That's really fair.
But I don't. So we joke because we don't really listen to podcasts that much. There are like some here or there. Like my friend will have a podcast and I'll listen to it, that kind of thing. But like my turning off thing is definitely TV and napping.
She's a big napper for sure. Yeah. Same for me. My husband is like addicted to podcasts. He listens to them all day, every day, and we are so different in that. Like I'll listen to some with him if we're like on a road trip or we're driving somewhere, but it's tough because like I'm home all the time, so I have to be doing something to listen to a podcast. But Beautiful Anonymous is a really good one that he loves, hosted by Chris Gethard. But I'm the same as Aricia. Like I love TV and I love sitcoms. My husband and I like will rewatch 90s sitcoms a lot. That and marijuana basically are my two.
There you go.
go-tos.
Well, so what are some sitcoms that you're watching right now?
We just started watching actually Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, which is
So
not a 90s
good.
sitcom, but it's so good.
I can't believe it was canceled.
Me either. I'm so bummed. It's so funny. Aricia, you got to watch that. We rewatched Wings, which is still so funny and still holds up.
Yep.
Just Shoot Me was another one we watched like during the pandemic.
Yeah, but she won't watch Frasier.
I didn't say I would not watch Frasier. I have watched Frasier. I watched it when it came out. And actually, you'll be happy to know this. I asked Ross, my husband, I was like, would you want to watch Frasier? And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
It's a commitment though. It's a commitment though. Because that's like what, like 10, 12 seasons?
Oh, I got
11.
Time. Oh, I'm on my second rewatch of Will and Grace. Like I have nothing but time, like truly nothing but time. So yeah, I could do it.
I'm currently in the middle of happy endings and I couldn't be happier. I forgot how good that show was. Forgot how good it was. Cute.
Have you guys seen Ted Lasso?
Not yet.
I'm in the middle of that too.
That's my good. Current, I love the world now.
I can't get into it.
Brooke.
Really?
I'm sorry. I just can't.
Try harder.
Schmigadoon, though. Did you try that?
Schmigadoon was there's a second season coming. I cannot. Yes. I don't know what they're going to do, but there's a second season coming.
I'm so happy. I love that set. I love it.
I just wanted to live in that world I want that to be a theme park, like a Schmigadoon theme park where we could just go and like stop at the cafe and then like be a song and like sing and dance. And then, it's amazing.
100%.
I'm just happy to see Jane Krakowski on TV. That's all.
She's a gem.
Good.
Yes.
So I wanted to go back to the Madonna series just for 1 second because you guys interviewed Roxane Gay and I loved hearing her talk to you guys about Madonna. So where did you guys, how did you approach Roxane of all people to talk about Madonna as opposed to, I don't know, Guy Ritchie?
Wow, that would have been a good get.
Yeah, so one of our producers, Kate, she's kind of taken the helm for getting us our interviews, and she does a great job. She's gotten really great people to talk to, and I actually don't know how she got Roxane. I know she posted something on Twitter, and I don't know if Roxane's people saw it or something, but.
That was so funny to me. Yeah, I can't remember. I think she posted looking for a Madonna expert. Yeah. And maybe somebody tagged Roxane and she was like, yeah, I can give you an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's,
she gave us an hour.
Yeah, we know from experience that getting guests for Madonna experts is not easy because I think there's a lot of NDAs out there. People are afraid that if they start talking about Madonna that they might never work again, that some black SUV will drive up and they will disappear and no one will ever hear from them again.
Yeah.
I mean, that may have been true in 1997, but now maybe not so much.
Yeah, I'm sure. But no, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, so I wanted to cover, I read that you both are comedians and that you do improv. So I have a couple questions. Yeah. do you feel that having those skills helped you in your podcasting or continue to help you in your podcasting?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I've done improv for 10 years now, and it started off as just like a distraction from what I was going through at the time. And it's just it gives you so many skills, I think, in life. Like the first rule of improv is yes and. So just being agreeable is something that I definitely needed help with, still do. But also just kind of like thinking on your feet, like having fun replies, fun quips has, I think, definitely been honed by improv. So I'd say so.
I haven't done improv in a while. Like I was doing so much improv that I was like, I need a break from this. I was like performing Friday and Saturday every weekend with like 9 people. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore. So I haven't performed improv in a while, aside from like, our podcast, which isn't really improv, but our daily show, I think it helps a lot because that's a lot of just like off the cuff bantering. But I think mostly it's just that Aricia and I have such a good chemistry, and that's something we hear all the time. Like, your chemistry is so good. And we've never done improv together. So
I know, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And we went to like dueling improv places.
Funnily enough that you mentioned that, we are actually going to change that today. Okay. So last season we had actor Bane Gibby. She's been on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and tons of other programs, and she's big on improv. We had her do a little bit of what we called Madonna Improv. And when I saw that you both did improv, I was like, okay, we're going to bring back the segment I never thought we'd bring back, which is Madonna Improv.
Much to my chagrin.
Yes.
Yeah. What does that even mean?
So the rules are very loose and thin. I'm just going to give Brooke and Aricia the name of a Madonna song, and then you just improv something about that for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
What do you mean something about that? Oh my God, like, this is like so nerve-wracking to me. I don't know why.
Like whatever you think it should be, like maybe a conversation based off of the song title.
Okay.
Wow.
I hope we don't have to necessarily know the song, because my Madonna song knowledge is embarrassing.
So I tried to pick 2 big songs that and something that sort of has some weight or might lend itself
to it.
lends itself to a conversation. So your first, there's only 2 that I'm going to have you do. The first is, Who's That Girl?
Wait, that's a Madonna song? Why am I thinking
of is Who's That
Girl? Oh, see, we're thinking of 2 completely different songs.
Clearly, we're very in sync right now.
Are you guys regretting having us on this podcast at all?
Never.
No.
Okay.
I think honestly, it's better that you might not know the song, but you remember she did the movie Who's That Girl? It was a wacky comedy, and I think you talked about it on.
They don't remember.
He's like, they aren't even the real hosts of this show. These are 2 duplicates they hired.
Okay, wait, are we getting both songs now, or one and then
just one, and then we'll do the other one?
He's going to force us to do 2 of these, is basically what he's saying.
I
mean, let's just start with one, okay?
Yeah, Tony's like, let's see if this is a dumpster
Well, I was
fire.
going to say the second song is Erotica. So if you is Erotica a better jumping off point?
I feel like Who's That Girl is a better jumping off point.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want us to just do like nothing involving Madonna? This
it
is
can
just
involve
our
Madonna, or it does. Yeah, that's your jumping off point.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
My husband's home. I'm so sorry. That scared the shit out of me. Yes.
Who's that guy?
Who's that girl?
It's like, there's someone robbing you behind you in your house. I think they're stealing things.
It's okay. Podcasting can't wait. That is my motto. Okay. Sorry. Right. Little sidetracked.
That's all right.
I'm going to let Aricia take the jump on this one because she's the professional here.
No. Okay. Who's that girl?
She's been following me literally everywhere. Just make eye contact with me. Pretend I said something funny.
Okay, well...
I know.
I mean, it wasn't really that funny. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just, she looks so familiar. Like, I feel like, I don't know, was she at your wedding?
She was at my wedding. She wasn't invited to the wedding. She was the girl that was outside in the driveway the whole time.
Was she the one that was like in that like bounce house, but like screaming the lyrics to that Madonna song? Was that her?
That's the one and only Kathy.
I feel like every time I see you, I see Kathy, and it's like,
I know.
You don't even talk to her.
I know. Like, she's not on the payroll. She's just always there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm starting to think, like, can I put her to work, or is that just encouraging her behavior?
It's so weird that you refuse to get a restraining order for her. You're just like, it's like you almost want this like Kathy shadow wherever you go. And I don't blame you. I mean, she's a good singer. I will say she's probably the best singer I've ever heard.
Oh, okay.
I know you're a singer.
I take offense to that, but we'll move past it. Yeah, I think it's just that I love attention, but I don't want like direct attention. Like this, like honestly, this conversation with you is fun for me because I can tell you like I have a person following me. Yeah. So it's that mostly.
Well, it's just weird because like I know she's listening. Like she like keeps like reacting to what I'm saying and kind of singing a song to like be like the soundtrack to this conversation, which is super weird, but I don't dislike it.
But it's fun, right? Yeah.
Kind of
it's addicting, to be honest. Honestly, sometimes I'm not sure who's stalking whom anymore. But it's okay.
And scene.
My God,
I won't make you do another one because that one I think that's a perfect improv. I think Madonna Improv, you nailed it.
Oh man.
No, and I loved it because I'm listening to it and I was like, oh my God, I listened to them and they're doing this for us, you know? Like I'm an avid listener and fan.
It's a private show.
Tell us about your daily show, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very.
Yeah, it's a daily show. We do it every day. That's what daily means, in case anybody didn't know. It's really fun. We're definitely, I think, kind of getting into a groove. And we're covering whatever is, you know, in this realm of celebrity news for the day. Today we covered Harry and Meghan.
A lot of Bennifer. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some people we love to talk about, and there's some people who are like, again.
I know.
Again.
But they're the ones that like give you the most stuff to talk about. So it's like, you know, we've talked so much about Britney and the Royals and Bennifer. I think those are the three that we're consistently talking about. But it's fun for us because, you know, like we've said, even The Rich and In God We Trust are just so scripted. And the only times we really get to banter are just one-liners and it's really quick. Whereas Rich and Daily, we get to really be more of ourselves. We're more off the cuff. We're just having a conversation as friends. So, you know, we're hitting like the news and that kind of thing, but it lets us be a little more loose.
Yeah.
Looser than we've been able to be in the past.
Well, it's also like more current events.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And it helps that it's stuff that we already more or less know just about everything on already. Like we very rarely are we talking about something that we don't know anything on.
Right.
I mean, half the time we're sending the stories to like the producing team, like, oh, you know, this just broke. We should talk about this, that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I listen to it every day, and I can't wait for you guys to jump into, for example, the VMAs, the Met Gala or the Met Flop. I mean, I don't know what to call it.
When is that happening? It's coming soon,
Very
right?
soon.
I was just wondering that yesterday.
September, right?
Yeah.
I think it's September. Yeah.
It's
be here before we know it.
It's going to be a hot mess. Wow.
Oh, I hope so. It's not. It wouldn't be fun if it was flawless.
Agree.
You know, like I want like sloppy disaster. You know, like it would just
we've earned it.
Yes.
At this point.
I mean,
we have. Yeah,
I've always wanted to see YouTube influencers at the Met Ball, you know, and this year I'll get my wish.
Wait, who?
Oh, I don't know.
All influencers, right?
It's all like IG influencers and TikTok teens, and
it's just going to be everybody taking selfies.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm on board for this.
It'll be just TikToks, just constant TikToks happening.
We don't see enough of those every day.
Yeah. Right.
Just constant choreographed dancing on the red carpet, like
on the
steps. To rest
with Anna Wintour.
Right, being like, why did I agree to this?
Well, you guys, I think it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, right, Steph?
Favorite part. You're going to love this more than you loved Madonna Improv, let me tell you.
That's going to be a hard
We do a little segment on the show with all of our guests called the Lightning Round.
Okay.
And the Lightning Round is just meant to be off the top of your head.
Okay.
This might be a challenge if you're not hardcore Madonna fans, but it is basically wherever you're at in your Madonna journey today, without thinking too hard. Favorite Madonna song, Aricia?
Like a Prayer.
Brooke?
Like a Prayer.
Favorite Madonna music video?
God,
Aricia.
it's gotta, go ahead.
I can't think of what it Material Girl.
Good one. Brooke?
Honestly, I gotta go Like a Prayer again because it's so wild. It's so crazy.
It is ridiculous.
So this might be a tough one if you've not seen her on tour, but favorite Madonna tour?
Oh,
Can I don't know the name of the tour, but whatever the tour is that she went on with Justin Timberlake where she stabbed him in the ass with a B12 shot.
Oh, so
that's a random fact I know about.
Sticky and Sweet tour.
There we go.
Sweet, yeah.
He was not part he was part of the promo, but yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I don't honestly know. Can I say Like a Prayer again? Can I just say that for every answer?
Yeah,
Is that a
she
sure?
actually does that in every single.
Sure.
She performs Like a Prayer at every single show. So there you go.
mean, yeah.
Favorite Madonna movie, Aricia? Suddenly Seeking Susan does not count.
I don't have an answer because this is terrible, but I always think she was in the movie Some Like It Hot. And I know she wasn't, but I always think she was because that movie was way before.
Okay,
but
we'll just say
don't have an
Geely
answer.
is your favorite Madonna movie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love A League of Their Own. I think it's such a fun movie.
Yeah.
And then this one should be easy enough. Favorite Madonna look, and that can be from a magazine, a video, in person,
I mean, the cone bra. It's just so
really?
iconic.
I love just like the 80s teased hair, glove, big skirt look. Like that's,
vintage, classic.
Yes, like that is
quintessential.
100% what I think of when I think of Madonna, for sure.
Yeah.
But the cone bra is good too.
I love those cone bras. Gotta bring those back, baby.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you for answering a fan's letter.
Yeah.
I just listened to your show and I kept hearing the advertisements for your show for the Madonna arc on Danny Pellegrino's show on Keep It. So you guys, it being promoted all over the place. This is great.
Awesome.
I hope that a lot of Madonna fans and, maybe new Madonna fans got to listen to the show.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you. And I'm so excited that we got to talk and I'm going to keep on listening. And
Tony listens to, I don't know how Tony consumes all the media that he consumes, but literally I'm like, what am I doing all day that I can't watch or listen to all of this? But Tony's like, did you watch this miniseries or there was a new movie on Netflix and there's this podcast. I'm like, I know that we all have the same amount of time that Beyonce does, but Tony.
Right. But who would know, honestly?
Well, I love podcasts, but it's gotten to the point where I have to budget my podcast time. So
that makes sense. There's so many. I mean,
2 hours a day at the most, because otherwise,
we're grateful that you fit us in.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The minute I found you guys, your voices locked right in. So I just want to.
And Tony was like, you have to listen to this podcast. It's about Madonna. And it's really, really good. And this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, calm down. I'll listen to it.
But
yeah, please let us know and let everyone know where they can find you on social media and, tell us everything.
I'm on everything at Aricia Skid Dubs is my handle on Instagram and Twitter. And I think that's about it at this point.
I'm only on Instagram. I got rid of the dumpster fire that is Twitter.
Seriously.
So I'm at all of those at Brooke Siffrinn. Brooke with an E.
And we'll tag you up. We'll tag you up.
Yeah, and you guys can find the Wondery produced podcast, Even the Rich, and
wherever
God
you get
We
your
Lust,
podcasts.
And also Rich and Daily, and that's wherever podcasts are found. And you can find us at the same places too. So we all hang out in the same rooms. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at MLVC Podcast. Give us a 5-star review, like and subscribe to the podcast, share it with your fellow Madonna friends, and why don't you make a new Madonna fan? That's your public service for the week. You can also donate to the podcast on Venmo at MLVC Podcast, as well as on our Patreon page, patron.podbean.com. /MLVC podcast.
Oh, you do that so well, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can donate to Aricia and I just individually on Venmo also. No, I'm kidding.
Cha-ching!
Yep.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you for entertaining the Madonna Improv and
Yeah, now I'm thinking, great. The Madonna Improv is going to become a regular part.
Oh, I know. We're totally bringing it back again now. You set the standard.
We're going to go troll the UCB and look for more people. You know?
Yeah,
I'm sure
seriously.
there are many people willing to do
Oh,
it.
yeah, 100%.
Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of the night. And
Yeah.
thanks again, you guys. This was really fun.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much.